The Titanic, the Lusitania, the Costa Concordia. These names echo through history as some of the most infamous maritime tragedies. Yet, few remember the chilling story of the Princess Victoria Louise. It wasn't just the first cruise ship ever built, it was also the first cruise ship disaster. On a dark December night in 1906, the world's first cruise ship ran aground in Jamaica, and in the wake of the crash, the Princess Victoria Louise's captain did the unthinkable. Before the Princess Victoria Louise, passenger ships primarily served as ocean liners, transporting travelers across vast distances rather than offering leisurely cruises for the wealthy. While some ship operators began experimenting with cruises in the late 19th century, the business faced a major problem. Operating luxurious cruises with the ocean liners of the time was extremely expensive. Liners were designed for functionality, not for extravagant leisurely voyages. Could building a ship specifically for cruising solve the problem? The answer, as history has shown, was a resounding yes. But back then, the world needed someone daring enough to take the financial risk. Enter Albert Bollin, a visionary at Hapag, also known as the Hamburg America Line, a major transatlantic shipping company. After Bollin began his career at Hapag as the manager of their passenger department, he quickly realized the potential of cruising to solve a seasonal problem. Hapag's transatlantic business would slow during the winter months when fewer passengers wanted to brave the cold seas. Ships often sat idle. Bollin's solution? Transform these idle months into an opportunity. In 1891, he planned a 58-day Mediterranean and Near East cruise aboard the Augusta Victoria on the Hapag's liners. The journey departed from Germany and visited numerous ports. Despite skepticism from his colleagues, Bollin proved them wrong. The cruise was a success. However, it exposed several issues. The Augusta Victoria, like other liners of the time, was built for transatlantic crossing, not leisurely cruises. Its design featured multiple passenger classes and covered decks, meant for cold weather travel. Bollin realized that a successful cruise ship needed to be purpose-built for the task. When Bollin was promoted to managing director at Hapag, he wasted no time in turning his vision into reality. He contracted the Hamburg-based shipbuilder Blom and Voss to construct the world's first purpose-built cruise ship. The result was the Princess Victoria Louise, named after Princess Victoria Louise of Prussia, the only daughter of Kaiser Wilhelm II. The Princess Victoria Louise was significantly smaller than traditional ocean liners, measuring 400.5 feet in length with a gross registered tonnage of 4,409. By comparison, the Augusta Victoria was 475.1 feet long and had a tonnage of 7,661. The Princess Victoria Louise could accommodate 200 first-class passengers and 161 crew members, a ratio that promised unparalleled service. Bollin's goal was to provide the kind of luxury that rivaled Europe's finest hotels. The ship's amenities included opulent staterooms, a ballroom, a social hall, a smoking room, a gymnasium, a library, and an art gallery. Its design emphasized elegance and exclusivity. Painted white and featuring a sleek profile, it resembled a private yacht rather than a commercial vessel. Notably, there were no steerage-class passengers or cargo on board. This was a ship for the elite. The original plan for the Princess Victoria Louise was nothing short of groundbreaking, reflecting the bold ambitions of Albert Bollin. This luxurious vessel was designed to embark on a 135-day maiden voyage from Hamburg, Germany to San Francisco, California. This route was meticulously planned to captivate affluent travelers, offering a once-in-a-lifetime journey that included stops at exotic spots while navigating around Cape Horn. This ambitious itinerary was a testament to Hapag's commitment to redefining ocean travel, catering to passengers who sought both adventure and unparalleled comfort. However, unforeseen delays at the shipyard forced Hapag to revise these grand plans. The delays, rumored to be the result of a labor strike or logistical issues in completing the ship's intricate design, meant that the original schedule had to be scrapped. Instead, a shorter yet still impressive maiden voyage was devised. On December 5, 1901, the Princess Victoria Louise departed from Hamburg on an inaugural journey. The voyage included stops in France and Plymouth, England, a significant port city with deep connections to transatlantic travel. From Plymouth, the ship embarked on a transatlantic crossing headed towards Hoboken, New Jersey, a bustling port across the Hudson River from New York City. This marked the ship's first appearance on American shores, a significant milestone in promoting luxury cruising to an international audience. Despite the revised itinerary, the Princess Victoria Louise made an unforgettable impression. Her sleek design, lavish interiors, and innovative approach to leisure cruising captured the attention of the elite, who were eager to experience this new form of travel in a way that had never been done before. At the time, Hoboken was a popular port for European passengers arriving in America. Its location on the Hudson River made it an ideal starting point for cruises to the Caribbean. For its inaugural journey, the Princess Victoria Louise embarked on a 35-day cruise around the West Indies, visiting glamorous destinations such as Port-au-Prince, Santo Domingo, San Juan, St. Thomas, Port of Spain, Kingston, and Havana. The ship offered passengers an unparalleled experience. A sample menu from the maiden voyage featuring delicacies like soup à la reine, roast turkey, and green turtle ragout. Every detail from the dining to the onboard service reflected Bolland's commitment to luxury. Tickets ranged from $75 to $175, the equivalent of $2,315 to $5,403 today, making the cruise accessible to only the affluent. The ship returned to Hoboken on March 2, 1901, completing its first cruise successfully. Just a week later, it set sail again, this time for a Mediterranean and Black Sea voyage. The ship's success solidified its reputation as a groundbreaking innovation in maritime travel. The ship became a symbol of German engineering and luxury. It even earned the admiration of Kaiser Wilhelm II. Despite his initial jealousy over its size compared to his imperial yacht, the ship participated in high-profile events, such as a regatta in Germany and Prince Henry of Prussia's visit to the United States. Hapag's ambitious plans culminated in a proposed 1904 to 1905 world cruise. The journey would take passengers from Hamburg through the Suez Canal, past India, and onto Asia and San Francisco. In the winter, it offered cruises from Hoboken to the Caribbean, and in the summer, it sailed from Hamburg to Arctic and Baltic destinations. Despite these successes, the ship's story would take a tragic turn. On the evening of December 12, 1906, the Princess Victoria Louise, a luxurious German passenger liner, departed from Hoboken, New Jersey, bound for the picturesque island of Jamaica. Commanded by Captain Henrik Brunswick, the vessel was part of a renowned line known for its elegance and exceptional service. Passengers eager to enjoy the Caribbean voyage were unaware of the tragedy that would unfold over the next few days. The ship's journey was mostly smooth until the night of December 16th, when it neared the coast of Jamaica. A thick fog blinded the ship as it approached the island's southern coast, limiting visibility and making navigation difficult. The wind had picked up, and the sea grew more treacherous, the waves crashing against the hull. Despite the rough conditions, the ship's officers maintained their course, relying on the guidance of the charts and the available lighthouses. However, the volcanic activity in the region, which had been going on for several months, had significantly altered local water levels. This change was not reflected in the nautical charts, which had not been updated to account for the shifts in depth. As a result, the crew's confidence in their charts and their familiar landmarks was misguided. Captain Brunswick struggled in the dense fog, mistakenly identified the Plum Point Lighthouse, located at the eastern end of the island, as the beacon guiding them towards the entrance to Port Royal, the island's main harbor. In the haze and confusion, the captain made the critical decision to steer the vessel towards the lighthouse, believing it would bring them safely into the port. Unfortunately, this decision would prove disastrous. At full speed with little room for error, the Princess Victoria Louise veered off course and ran aground on a treacherous reef just off the coast. The ship's hull shuddered as it struck the rocks, sending a wave of shock through the passengers and crew. The engines were cut and the vessel came to a halt. The night sky was filled with sound of crashing waves as the ship remained stuck fast. A sense of panic spread among the passengers, many of whom were initially unaware of the gravity of the situation. They were told that the ship had simply suffered a mechanical malfunction, and there was no immediate cause for alarm. However, the officers and crew knew the reality. Captain Brunswick, realizing that the situation was hopeless and overwhelmed by the weight of his mistake, retreated to his quarters. As the night wore on, he became consumed by guilt, despair, and a sense of personal failure. He locked himself in his cabin, and by the early hours of December 17th, he had tragically taken his own life. His death went unnoticed by the passengers, who continued to spend the night aboard the stranded vessel. The sound of waves crashing against the hull and the constant rocking of the ship left them uneasy, though no one truly knew what was going on. It wasn't until the following morning, when a rescue mission was organized, that the true scale of the disaster became apparent. The ship remained stranded, but with the combined efforts of the crew and local Jamaican authorities, the passengers were eventually brought safely ashore. Captain Brunswick's death remains one of the most haunting chapters in the history of the Princess Victoria Louise. A tragic ending that forever marred his legacy and the ship's brief but storied existence. The luxury cruise, envisioned as a milestone in maritime travel, was transformed into a somber event that would be remembered for generations. Though the full toll of the disaster was never fully documented, adding a layer of mystery and sorrow to the story. This profound act of despair left a lasting mark on the maritime world, casting a shadow over what began as a groundbreaking journey. What was intended to showcase the height of luxury and innovation had become a cautionary tale of human vulnerability, a story of miscalculation, remorse, and untimely tragedy. The wreck of the ship became a reminder of the risks of maritime travel, leaving behind a legacy not of triumph, but of sorrow and reflection. At dawn, the crew organized a rescue operation. They formed a line of small boats to ferry passengers from the ship to shore. Fortunately, all passengers were safely evacuated. Despite this, the damage to the ship was catastrophic. Salvage efforts were hampered by storms and rough seas, which caused the ship to list and take on water. By December 19th, Hapag declared the vessel a total loss. The tragedy marked the end of the Princess Victoria Louise, but its legacy endured. Maritime courts in Hamburg later found Captain Brunswick guilty of negligence, citing his failure to reduce speed and misjudgment of the lighthouse's location. The loss of the ship foreshadowed a series of maritime disasters that would shake public confidence in sea travel. Just 6 years later, the Titanic sank, followed by the Lusitania in 1915. These events, combined with challenges of World War I, significantly impacted the cruise industry. Cruising would not regain its former glory until the mid-20th century. As the world faced tumultuous decades marked by wars, economic challenges, and shifts in transportation priorities, ocean liners, once symbols of luxury and leisure, were repurposed for military use or overshadowed by the rise of air travel, which promised speed and efficiency. However, the industry found its resurgence with the advent of modern megaliners and a renewed focus on the experience of the journey rather than just the destination. The revival was fueled by cultural influences as well, such as the popularity of the television show The Love Boat, which aired in the late 1970s and early 1980s. The series romanticized the idea of life at sea, portraying cruises as glamorous getaways filled with adventurous romance and luxury. This depiction reignited public interest in cruising as a leisure activity, helping to establish the industry as a cornerstone of modern travel. Today, ships like the Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Seas, the largest cruise ship in the world, are marvels of engineering and hospitality, dwarfing the modest yet revolutionary Princess Victoria Louise, with the ability to carry over 7,000 passengers and crew. These megaliners offer an array of amenities, from water parks and fine dining to theaters and shopping malls that would have been unimaginable at the turn of the 20th century. Yet, despite these advancements, the pioneering spirit of the Prinzessin remains a cornerstone of cruising history. Its launch in 1901 marked the birth of the modern cruise industry, showcasing the ambition and innovation that defined its early years. While today's ships offer unparalleled scale and sophistication, they owe their existence to the bold visionaries who first dared to imagine the ocean as more than just a means of transportation, but as a destination in itself. The legacy of the Princess Victoria Louise is a reminder of the humble beginnings of cruising and the enduring allure of the open sea.